Get out of the car, you worthless fool! When my memory finally returned, one thing was certain. I would never go back to the husband and in-laws who had put me through this hell. Who am I? I'm Emma, 28 years old, and I woke up in a hospital bed, utterly confused. Why was I here? The door burst open, and a man stormed in, his footsteps frantic, his shoulders rigid with tension, but his face completely unfamiliar. "Who are you?" I demanded. His response was cold, furious. "Emma, are you serious? If you're awake, you're fine. Hospitalization is ridiculous. You're causing me trouble," he shouted, his voice dripping with contempt. What a way to meet someone for the first time. The commotion drew nurses and security who dragged him away. In that frozen moment of shock, my mother, Kay, rushed in, tears streaming down her face. "Emma, you're awake." Thank God. I was so worried. But I was lost. What's happening? Why is Kevin crying? And Dad, he never cries. They told me I'd collapsed outside our house. A concussion, a deep cut on my head, stitched up. But I remembered none of it. A neighbor had called an ambulance after seeing the blood. "Mom, who was that violent man?" Their confusion mirrored mine. Turns out, that man was my husband. Wait, husband? I don't remember being married. My family exchanged glances, stunned. The nurse confirmed it. Amnesia. Tests followed, endless tests, while visitors poured in. Colleagues brought flowers, sweets, fruits. Friends came, worried. But among them, my husband John and his parents stood out for all the wrong reasons. "How long will you stay here? How much is this costing? Who's paying? Get discharged already. You're a lazy wife. Get back to work. We're short-staffed because of you." My father, usually so quiet, exploded. "My daughter is injured, hospitalized, and you speak to her like this? Get out. Now." My mother and brother backed him up. "Don't ever come back." Yet they returned, day after day, harassing me about discharge, about the trouble I was causing. The hospital moved me to a private room, barring them from visiting. The results were clear. A chunk of my memory was gone. Not from trauma, the scans showed no bleeding, but from something psychological. The doctor called it psychogenic. I didn't recognize John's face. I couldn't believe I was married. Yet the evidence was undeniable. I was Emma, married to John, 35, living with his parents, Phil and Mill, working 2 jobs, one paid, one unpaid at their store. My salary, stolen, my freedom, non-existent. "Housework is women's work," John would sneer. "You're useless, clumsy." His parents echoed him, criticizing everything. My cooking, my job, my inability to have a child. I was starving, overworked, monitored like a prisoner. Then Max, my colleague, my friend, filled in the blanks. The memory of the accident flooded back. John's rage in the car, his shove, my head hitting the concrete. "Get out of the car, you stupid idiot." He'd left me bleeding, drove off without a glance. A neighbor saved me. The police confirmed it. Security footage didn't lie. Rage surged through me. I would make them pay. Discharged, I fled to my parents' home. For the first time in years, I ate proper meals, slept, healed. My body, once emaciated, began to recover. But the fear lingered. Would I have to go back? My mother's answer was firm. "Divorce him, now." We hired a lawyer, a family friend. The process began. John's family, meanwhile, panicked. "When is she coming back? The house is a mess. The shop can't run without her." Mill wailed. "She's been discharged for ages. Why isn't she here? She needs to give us an heir." Their calls were relentless. "Emma, come home. You're being irresponsible." I returned, once, with my father and the lawyer. Not to stay, but to gather evidence. My diary, documenting every insult, every threat. Voice memos, hundreds of them. "Dinner's late. You're useless. Can't you do anything right?" Mill's voice hissed. John's followed. You're slow, worthless, a failure as a wife. As I packed, John cornered me. Divorce? What are you talking about? The lawyer intervened just as the police arrived. John Smith, you're under arrest for assault. His protests, it was just a push, she's clumsy, fell on deaf ears. The footage was damning. The divorce was swift. My diary, the recordings, even John's medical records, his azoospermia, the real reason we had no children, sealed their fate. He was sentenced. I sued for emotional abuse, winning compensation. His parents' business collapsed under the scandal. Bankruptcy followed. Now, I'm free. Max, my boss, my rock, became more. Emma, dinner? He'd ask, grinning as I blushed. Stop. People are watching. But he didn't care. He'd protected me, supported me, loved me, and my ex-husband. He tried once to win me back. I've changed. Let's try again. Max stepped between us, his voice lethal. She's mine now. Stay away, or else. John backed down. For the first time in years, I felt safe. Max's hand found mine as we left the restaurant, his grip warm and reassuring. You deserve so much better than what they put you through, he murmured, his voice low but fierce. I squeezed back, the weight of the past finally lifting, but John wasn't done. Not yet. A week later, I found him waiting outside my office, gaunt, desperate, his eyes wild. Emma, please, just 5 minutes. I made a mistake. I'll change. I'll do anything. His voice cracked, but there was no remorse in his eyes, only calculation. I felt nothing but cold detachment. There's nothing left to say, I replied, stepping past him. You had years to change. You chose this. He lunged, grabbing my arm. You can't just walk away. You're my wife. Not anymore. Max's voice cut through the tension like a blade. He was there before I could react, his broad frame shielding me. Touch her again, and you'll regret it. John flinched, his bravado crumbling. This isn't over, he spat, but his words were empty. He knew it. I knew it. The police were already on speed dial. Months later, the final divorce papers arrived. I signed without hesitation, the pen gliding across the paper like a knife through the last thread binding me to that life. The court had ruled in my favor, full custody of my freedom, my future, my peace. John's prison sentence was upheld. His parents' attempts to contest the compensation failed. The evidence was ironclad. That evening, Max took me to the rooftop of his apartment building. The city lights stretched out below us, endless and bright. No more looking back, he said, handing me a glass of wine. Only forward. I smiled, the first real one in years. Forward, I agreed. Epilogue. John's release from prison was quiet. No fanfare, no grand declarations. Just a broken man slipping into obscurity. His parents? They'd long since vanished from the neighborhood, their shop a hollow shell, their reputation in ruins. As for me, I thrived. My career flourished, my health returned, my heart, once shattered, was whole again, thanks to the people who never gave up on me. And Max? He knelt one evening under the same city lights and asked me to marry him. This time, it wasn't out of obligation or fear. It was a choice. My choice. I said yes, because this time, love wasn't a cage. It was a promise, and I intended to keep it. The wedding was small, intimate. Only family and closest friends gathered in my parents' backyard, beneath strings of fairy lights and the soft hum of summer crickets. My mother cried happy tears as she helped me into my dress, her hands steady, her voice warm. You look radiant, Emma. My father stood tall beside me, his pride quiet but unmistakable. Kevin, ever the joker, wiped away a tear and muttered, "Finally, someone who actually deserves you." Max waited at the end of the aisle, his rugged face softer than I'd ever seen it. No demands, no conditions, just love. When I took his hand, it wasn't out of duty or fear. It was because I wanted to. The vows we exchanged weren't just words. They were a rebellion, a declaration that I would never again be silenced, diminished, or controlled. I promise to stand by you, Max said, his voice rough with emotion. Not as your keeper, but as your partner. Always. I repeated the words back, my voice steady, my heart full. Always. Life after wasn't perfect. It never is. But it was mine. Some days, the ghosts of the past whispered. A sharp tone from a stranger, a raised voice in the street, and for a second, I'd freeze. But then Max would be there, grounding me with a touch, a joke, a reminder, you're safe now. We built a home together, not a gilded cage, but a sanctuary. A place where laughter echoed louder than screams, where mistakes were met with patience, not punishment. My nieces and nephews ran through the halls, their joy infectious. My mother's cooking filled the kitchen with warmth. My father's quiet wisdom guided me when doubts crept in. And John? He became a footnote, a cautionary tale told in hushed tones by those who remembered the scandal. Rumor had it he'd moved far away, his parents barely scraping by, their once proud name tarnished beyond repair. I didn't care to confirm it. He was the past. I was the future. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Max turned to me. Do you ever think about how different things could have been? I considered it. The girl I'd been, broken, terrified, trapped, felt like a stranger now. Sometimes, I admitted. But then I remember the woman I am now, and I wouldn't trade her for anything. Max kissed my temple, his smile slow and sure. Damn right you wouldn't. The stars blinked to life above us, endless and unafraid, just like us. The end.